Greenburg, take a seat, invite yourself, and you're recognized to speak, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. If you'll permit me, I've got a few notes on my iPhone here, and you'll refer to that. That's all right. I'd like to begin by saying that every legislature and every legislator, I think, has a duty to make sure that every citizen is treated fairly and equally without regard to sex. And the issue before you today is a little bit different than that, and that's the idea that we place a rule in the Constitution that requires absolute equality of rights. And I just want to suggest to you that when we do this, we do run the possibility of running into some unanticipated consequences. When you change the Constitution, it creates the possibility, not the certainty, but the possibility of changes in various areas of the law. And I'd like to simply list some possible changes that the Equal Rights Amendment might mandate. First, judicial elimination of some prohibitions on women conduct. Second, judicial expansion of draft registration obligation of females. Third, judicial elimination or contraction of sex-based affirmative action. Fourth, judicial changes in school-based athletic programs, especially ones that don't permit girls and boys or men and women to play on the same team. Next, constitutionalization of same-sex marriage rights and civil union rights. Next, constitutionalization of abortion rights, particularly taxpayer-funded abortion rights. And finally, although this may make at least one of you smile, judicial making mandatory acceptance and establishment of single-sex bathrooms and showers in the institution of higher education. And I'd like to say something a little bit about that, because I know that one person found that extreme on the panel. I went to school in the 1980s, a place that had same-sex, I went to college, a place that had same-sex showers for men and women, and it didn't really hurt me. I don't really care very much about that issue. We just have to remember to wear our bathrobes to and from the shower in our dorms. I don't really care very much about that stuff, but it seems to me that that is probably something that institutions ought to be able to govern themselves, and state legislatures ought to go make those kinds of choices for institutions of higher education. And we had a discussion of different levels of scrutiny, Representative Lindsey Smith before, and it seems pretty clear to me that somebody who wanted to make mischief, it seems reasonably likely that somebody who wanted to cause trouble could sue a university without co-ed bathrooms and showers and win. There are plenty of universities that have them now. It's something that's socially accepted. The main point I want to make is not that the creation of the Equal Rights Amendment is necessarily going to lead to all these consequences, but it raises large possibilities of eliminating choices from the legislature and from private institutions. And I think that you could probably write a law review article about every one of these things that I've listed. I mean, the idea that we can easily predict what a court is going to say is, I think we all know that that's wrong. Okay? As a general matter, in 2013, I think that legislatures are better equipped to make decisions about some of these large social issues than the courts. And I share Mr. Cox's concern that, in particular, with respect to taxpayer-funded abortions, I share Mr. Cox's concern that we've already seen one court, I think the state Supreme Court in New Mexico, looked at the ERA language in its own state constitution and decided that mandated taxpayer-funded abortion. So I don't object to lawyers having all these new arguments they can raise on ERA grounds. My concern is that courts are going to take away appropriate issues of self-government from legislatures and private institutions. So that's what I have to say, and I'm happy to take questions. Questions?
Johnson.
Representative Greenburg, you've got most of the state laws or the federal laws that you mentioned under this area seem to, and I don't know the details of those laws, seem to assure equality between the sexes under the law. Is that correct?
Well, I gave you a list of possible policies that might change. Is that what you're asking about?
I thought those were laws that you were actually signing.
Well, some of them have to do with laws, and some of them are sort of free-floating policies. yes,
And so you seem to suggest that if we pass this ERA, that it would have the result of throwing out these other laws that assure equality of the law.
well, I'm not sure that that's right. I mean, for instance, take the whole question of affirmative action. I mean, I think that once you move from from a moderate scrutiny standpoint to a higher scrutiny, strict scrutiny standpoint, I think it's quite possible that certain affirmative action programs for women could be endangered. And different people sort of view affirmative action as, on grounds of equality. People have different understandings of how affirmative action leads to equality. Some people view affirmative action as a necessary part of equality, and some people view affirmative action as very dangerous to equality. And so the only thing I feel comfortable about saying is that a lot of this stuff takes away from legislative judgments and private institution judgments, and it seems to place it in the hands of courts. I mean, you have to look at each individual thing to really answer that question.